Great. Noah, thank you again for joining me this morning on this topic we're going to go over around faith-based questions and faith-based calls. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. I think that one of the things that people tend to forget that if you think that it's only a person of the cloth that wrestles with faith, then you've never met an artist, you've never met a parent, you never met an entrepreneur. Faith has a lot of, if I may, faith wears a lot of faces. And we can talk about faith both as a religious experience, but also as a deeply important psychological and philosophic experience that plays in our life. So I welcome this conversation.
Thank you, Noah. Well, and the genesis, so to speak, of this conversation was a call that we had a couple of months ago, where the caller asked right off the bat, "Are we a Christian program?" And that question can go a lot of different ways. And like you and I were discussing before we started the interview, she was clearly looking. I believe she was clearly looking probably more for a Bible-based, a Christian Bible-based program, whereas we are very supportive of faith-based, and we can support those. We have a chaplain on staff. We certainly have had people of many different faiths, whether it was Judaism or Islam or Buddhist. I mean, we've had everybody come through the program. We've always been supportive. So that's a real challenge for somebody on the phones, because not only are they having to think about all of the treatments that we provide, all of the trauma treatment that we provide, now they're getting questioned about details about certain religious aspects. It can be a challenge in how you answer that question. So, I love your thoughts on how we can help some of our members on our phones, respond appropriately, to that kind of question.
I think that oftentimes the questions that are most perplexing are questions that are deep questions in ourselves. So there's probably nobody that is handling that door where the people are coming in or calling through that that sense of a portal, who don't have questions about faith at 3 o'clock in the morning in their own lives. I think that faith, just to step back for a second, to be a person of faith does not mean that you're a person without anxieties or fears. Faith is a verb, and it's a state of mind. Just to go backward for a second, and in the 1st century BC, the rabbi said that that the golden rule, treating others as you want to be treated, is the basis of faith. Jesus said, "I am love." The Bakur, the first Islam caliphate, said that if you want the blessings of Allah, be kind to others. The Dalai Lama was asked his religion. He said, I'm a Buddhist, but my religion is kindness. And in my book, Jacob the Baker, Jacob says, people of all faiths are of one if their religion is kindness. So I think that rather than wrestling with anybody else's notion of faith, because if someone calls and asks, do you have a faith-based program? You have no idea what that means to them, because you heard the word faith. They could be, talking about meditating and vegetarianism as much as they could be talking about wearing sandals and humility. So I think the first place we have to understand as an organization is that we are faith-driven in that we believe the kindness and caring and love and support, that is our fundamental foundational experience that we come to. So are you a faith-based place? We are faith-based in this term that we believe that love and kindness is the best way to experience a relationship with God. And that's how we play. That's how we roll here. Otherwise, you're going to wind up in this whole series of conversations with people about, in all the different ways. So I just think, and here's, when you come to it, when you try to understand, the people that are calling, they're, a number of them have been through other programs. A number of them have tried before and failed. A number of them have made promises to themselves, like we've all made promises to ourselves at some point, and then failed to keep the promise that we've made. So to have the faith that you can come out the other side, that's our faith. We have faith that you can come out the other side. We can help you in that faith relationship, so you can have faith in yourself, not just by stating repeatedly comments of faith, by what you do, by what you learn, by how you conduct yourself. So I think that really is to come to it honestly. I was saying to you before that guilt won't change the past, and anxiety won't improve the future. So, and both guilt and anxiety seem to be deeply entrenched elements in religious experience so often. So our work here is to help you get past any sense of guilt that you might come to this, and help you get past any sense of anxiety you have, and come with the notion that, to come with faith that your healing is possible. That's the faith that we stand for. Everybody here has different names or nomenclature for their faith. We're not here to use that to separate one person from the other. We're here to let faith be the bonding experience with your own opportunity to heal.
Absolutely. I think that's excellent, Noah. And, one of the things that we coach on is when you get a question like that, and it's also questions a lot of times, even specifics about your treatment, before we can start to answer those questions, we have to kind of interview the person some more. So if I get a question right off the bat, are we a faith-based program? Are we a Christian-based program? My next response to them is to ask them, what does that look like for them? What are they? Because I need to understand more before I can even provide an answer. Because even though we are faith supportive, if I was just to go in and say, oh, if somebody asked me, are we a faith-based program? And I start going on about, well, we have a chaplain, and we you can go to service if you want on Sunday mornings, or watch it, on Zoom, now with COVID. That may not be what they are asking about specifically, or needing. So we've got to ask more questions before we even develop an answer.
I can't tell you how right you are, because oh, so often when someone asks you a question, the wisest response is the wisest response to any question is listening. The second wisest thing is to ask, what does that mean to you? Help me understand your question. What does that question mean to you?
Yes.
But otherwise you have no, and again, in all of these circumstances, what are you doing? You're engaging the person. You're bringing them into the conversation. Rather than we are too often concerned with having an answer, rather than bringing the person into the conversation. If you bring them into the conversation, you're already involved with them. You're already caring in some way. That transforms the experience. And that's what we're trying to do here. So say, one, when they ask that question, just listen to it. Let them go ahead, talk to me. Let me talk to them. And then, what does that question mean to you? What help me understand, because I'm here for you. I want to help you. And then I don't know of any, there's a line I wrote one time years ago, that caring is prayer with wings. So if you I'm assuming that a lot of the people who are doing this work are people of faith and some notion of faith in themselves. They care about things. They have a spiritual side. Again, no one, this is not a job that you go into for the big bank account. You go into because at some level, you you have to care. If you don't care, it's the wrong line of work. But if you're caring and want that caring, then that's a way for you to have prayer in your own life and exercise that with people. And um, I think I can't tell you how what you said is so right on, is turning it and bringing the person into the conversation. When you bring them into the conversation, then all the other doors you hope to open
Mhm.
will be there. And until you bring them into the conversation, none of those other doors will be here. So there, just to be clear about this, people who are calling aren't looking for answers. They're looking for help.
Yes.
If you to try and distinguish that they're not looking for answers, they're looking for help. And when you have that agenda with more clarity, then you can respond.
Absolutely.
You know,
Well, no, there's along that lines, there are so many things like when you ask them another question, they may be trying to understand like what the potential is. And if we are approaching it as caring as first, we're going to help them figure something out. I think about a lot of times because we're in Arizona, we're more familiar with our Arizona treatment model. And sometimes when I visited Texas and I went to the Meadows, Texas, they have a beautiful labyrinth that they've built on that property. There's a lot of acreage there. And sometimes I think sometimes when people are asking about faith-based, they may not be asking you, or is somebody going to be there, to read a text to me every night before I go to bed? Or is somebody going to no, do we provide a space that is supportive? And when I think about that, I think about Texas. I go, a lot of times we forget about that because here is an unbelievable space where, during some of your off time, you can go and work with your therapist, whatever you need to work through, which may or may not be faith-based, but you've got that labyrinth, right? That you can sit there and start working your program. And that to a lot of people, I think would be very inviting, and it would show them that we're putting caring first. We're going to help you design, a program that fits within our model that's going to work for you.
I love the image of the labyrinth, because are there any of us who haven't discovered that life is a labyrinth?
Mm-hmm.
It is a tricky, winding road. And whether you have, I remind people that there are the awful 2-year-olds, there are the terrible 8-year-olds, there are the scary 21-year-olds, there are the very scary 40-year-olds. There's a very scary period at 50 too. And at 69, there's a scary period as well. So life is a labyrinth where difficulties emerge anywhere along the way. And our relationship is to be caring and let you know that there's a way through the labyrinth. There's a way through the labyrinth in life. And if you're at a point now where you're feeling lost, it's okay. No one has ever found their way who has not felt lost. And come just with that caring. So here's the turnaround on it, which is well within my understanding by a life of examination, that our ability to be caring to others is premised on our willingness to be caring to ourselves. So when you come to the morning, understand how you have needed caring, how you have felt lost sometimes, how you have turned to religion or faith or spirituality or writings or a fortune cookie when you didn't expect it to show up with some message to you. And if you care and bring that caring that you have for yourself to it, then you can be caring to other people. I keep turning around this to say that there are two opportunities here in this work. One is the opportunity to make a difference by being caring to others. But the prerequisite to being caring to others is to be caring to yourself. So the benefit in this job is you'll come away feeling that I feel good about who I am. And that's how I can, not that I haven't felt lost, not that I haven't felt worried, but that I've tried to be good to myself in that process. And I can turn around and bring that to the other people. That's transformative. And it changes you from having a job to having a mission,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know.
I love that.
And I think that, just not to be too cute about it, I don't think at any point in time that Jesus thought that his life was the 9 to 5. But we are our 9 to 5 and our 5 to 9. We have our life. Come to your life with caring for yourself, and then you can bring it to someone else, and that is surely a deeply spiritual stance to take. And again, the reminder that caring is prayer.
Mhm.
I would suggest that. People says, do you pray at your job? Well, I try to be caring. Boy, and you're praying a lot. I think that's could be an ally. And in our conversations, my work is not to just supply a facile answer, but to do something which is transformative to the person who are in this work, and remind them that we hold their work they're doing as precious. We hold them as precious. And if they do as well, then they will bring that caring to others.
Absolutely. Well, Noah, thank you so much for your time this morning. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to continuing on with some of these conversations in the near future.
As I do as well, Lee, and thank you for your good work. It makes a difference. Thank you.
Thank you.